Okay, so uh, let's unpack this. You sent us a stack of sources, and yeah, they all seem to land on this term you hear everywhere now, superfoods.
Right.
It sounds like certain foods have, I don't know, like special powers or something.
It definitely has that marketing shine to it, doesn't it? But
Okay.
what are these foods really when you look at what your sources actually say?
Yeah, and more importantly, why do they get this label? Especially, thinking about specific goals like heart health or maybe managing something like kidney disease.
Exactly. So our goal here in this deep dive is to kind of sift through the marketing noise
Hmm.
and really pull out the key nutritional insights from these articles so you can feel genuinely informed about what these, well, superfoods actually offer.
Okay, so first up, what does that label superfood even mean, according to these sources?
Well, the big takeaway is that it's not really a formal scientific or nutritional term you'd find in textbooks.
Right, one of the sources, the Healthline one, actually points out it was pretty much coined for marketing.
Yeah, designed to influence food trends, spotlight certain nutrient-packed items, and, let's be honest, sell more products.
So the food industry uses it for foods that are rich in nutrients and have potential health benefits. But, and this seems really crucial,
Absolutely.
all the sources seem to agree, either directly or indirectly, that no single food is the key. Like there's no magic bullet for good health just from one food.
That's such a fundamental point right from the get-go. Real health benefits, the sustainable kind, come from eating a variety of nutritious foods every day as part of a balanced diet.
So the superfood label is more like a signpost pointing toward foods that are maybe exceptionally packed with good stuff.
Precisely. And that Healthline source gives us a really great list, 16 foods often called superfoods, and it details their key nutrients and, importantly, their potential benefits.
Okay, let's dive into some of those dark leafy greens, kale, spinach, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they're just loaded with nutrients. You've got folate, zinc, calcium, iron, magnesium, vitamin C, fiber, the list goes on.
And they have those carotenoids, right? The anti-inflammatory one.
Exactly, high levels of those. And studies link them to potentially reducing the risk of chronic stuff like heart disease and type 2 diabetes, maybe even protecting against certain cancers.
And the source says they're easy to add to. Soups, smoothies, stir fries.
Versatile. Then you've got berries, blueberries, raspberries.
Always popular. Called a nutritional powerhouse here.
And for good reason, just packed with vitamins, minerals, fiber, and antioxidants. That antioxidant power is linked to less inflammation, potentially lower risk of heart disease, cancer.
It even mentions possibly helping with digestive and immune issues, alongside other treatments, of course.
Right, as part of a whole approach. Green tea also makes the list.
Ah, yes.
Rich in antioxidants, especially those polyphenols like EGCG, really strong anti-inflammatory effects.
And believed to help protect against chronic diseases. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer.
That's what the research suggests. The source even notes that the combo of catechins and caffeine might help with weight loss for some people.
Okay, eggs. For a long time, people were a bit wary, weren't they? The cholesterol thing.
Yes, but this source, Healthline, offers some clarity. It says research suggests that for most healthy people, eating, say, 6 to 12 eggs a week doesn't seem to measurably increase heart disease or diabetes risk.
And they're highlighted for being rich and rich. Lots of things. B vitamins, choline, selenium, vitamin A, iron, phosphorus.
And really high-quality protein. Plus, they have lutein and zeaxanthin. Those are antioxidants specifically good for protecting your eyes, your vision.
Interesting. What about legumes? Beans, lentils, peas, even peanuts fall in this category. Often kind of overlooked.
But they shouldn't be. They're nutritional stars. Rich in B vitamins, minerals, protein, and tons of fiber.
And the benefits mentioned. Better blood sugar management for type 2 diabetes, lower blood pressure, lower cholesterol.
Exactly. And that fiber helps you feel full, which can be really helpful for maintaining a healthy weight.
Nuts and seeds seem similar in some ways. Fiber, healthy fats, plant-based protein.
Yeah, and they also have these great plant compounds with anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects, protecting your cells. The source really highlights their protective role against heart disease.
It's interesting. They're calorie-dense, but some studies link certain nuts to helping with weight loss.
When part of a balanced diet, yes, it's counterintuitive but seems related to satiety and nutrient profile. Think walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, all good examples.
Kefir and yogurt are on the list too. Fermented foods.
Right. Kefir is usually milk-based, fermented, good source of protein, calcium, B vitamins, potassium, and especially probiotics.
Often more strains than yogurt.
Typically, yes. And these fermented foods are linked to benefits like reduce cholesterol, potentially lower blood pressure, better digestion, anti-inflammatory effects, and you can get non-dairy versions too.
Okay, garlic. Can't forget garlic.
A classic. Good source of manganese, vitamin C, B6, selenium, fiber. It's been used medicinally for ages.
Associated with lower cholesterol, blood pressure, better immune function.
And those sulfur compounds in garlic might even play a role in preventing certain cancers.
Olive oil, you always hear about it with the Mediterranean diet.
Absolutely. It's a cornerstone. High in those monounsaturated fats, MUFAs, which are the healthy kind, and also polyphenols, those plant compounds with antioxidant effects.
Believed to reduce inflammation and risk of heart disease, diabetes.
That's the idea. Plus, it gives you vitamins E and K.
Ginger.
Another root used in cooking and medicine forever contains antioxidants like gingerol.
Often used for nausea, right? And pain from inflammation.
Exactly. And some research suggests it might potentially reduce the risk of things like heart disease, dementia, even certain cancers.
And its cousin, turmeric, with that active compound curcumin.
Yeah, curcumin is really potent. Strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. Studies suggest it might help treat or prevent chronic diseases, cancer, heart disease, diabetes. Could even aid wound healing and reduce pain.
But there's a catch with absorption, isn't there? Right.
Crucial point the source makes. Curcumin isn't easily absorbed on its own. You need to have it with some fat, or famously a bit of black pepper that really boosts absorption.
Okay, fatty fish like salmon. Definitely a nutritional heavyweight.
For sure. Packed with healthy fats, quality protein, B vitamins, potassium, selenium, and it's one of the absolute best sources of omega-3 fatty acids.
Which are known for reducing inflammation.
Widely known, yes. Eating salmon and similar fish might lower your risk of heart disease and diabetes, help maintain a healthy weight.
But there's a potential downside. Contaminants.
Yeah, the source mentions that potential issue with some fish. Suggests limiting it to maybe 2 or 3 servings a week to balance the benefits and risks.
Avocado. The fruit we treat like a vegetable.
Huh, yeah. But incredibly nutritious, rich in fiber, vitamins, minerals, and those healthy fats, again, particularly MUFAs like oleic acid, linked to reduced inflammation.
And eating it might lower the risk of heart disease, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, even some cancers.
That's what the potential links suggest.
Sweet potatoes.
Great root veggie, loaded with potassium, fiber, vitamins A and C. Good source of carotenoids, too, those antioxidants again, possibly reducing risk for certain cancers.
And interesting that they might help blood sugar control in type 2 diabetes, despite being sweet.
Yeah, the fiber and nutrient profile likely play a role there.
Mushrooms.
Yep. All sorts, button, shiitake. They offer vitamin A, potassium, fiber, and some unique antioxidants you don't find elsewhere.
The source notes people who eat more mushrooms tend to eat more veggies overall.
Which is a great side benefit, plus potential for reducing inflammation, preventing some cancers, and a nice bonus, they're often a sustainable food choice grown on waste products.
And lastly on this big list, seaweed.
Right, nutrient-rich sea vegetables like kelp or nori sheets, packed with vitamin K, folate, iodine, fiber.
And unique compounds.
Yeah, bioactive compounds with antioxidant effects may reduce risk of cancer, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, according to the source.
Wow, okay. That health line list really paints a picture. The superfood label, even if it started in marketing.
It does seem to point towards foods that are genuinely exceptional in their nutrient density.
Right. But what's really useful, I think, is how your other sources show these benefits apply in specific contexts. Like the Henry Ford Health source, focusing specifically on heart health.
Exactly. It connects the dots how these nutrient-rich foods can help manage the big risk factors for heart disease.
Things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. It contrasts them with foods high in saturated fat and sodium, which increase risk.
Right. And it stresses, again, these foods are powerful tools, but not magic. They work best within a larger picture of a balanced diet and regular exercise.
So which ones did the Henry Ford source pull out for heart health? Cruciferous veggies, like broccoli and Brussels sprouts.
Yep. They've got potassium, which helps lower blood pressure, insoluble fiber, great for lowering cholesterol, plus those phytonutrients that reduce inflammation throughout the body.
Onions and garlic show up again. But this source had that cool tip.
Oh, yeah. Let them sit after cutting or crushing for 30 to 60 minutes. Apparently, it can double their antioxidant quality. And those antioxidants are key for helping lower blood pressure.
It also mentions garlic supplements as an option for heart health.
Right. Beets were another one, specifically mentioned as reducing heart disease risk, according to the American Heart Association.
That's a strong claim. How do they work?
They're a natural source of nitrates. Your body turns nitrates into nitric oxide, which helps your blood vessels relax and widen.
Lowering blood pressure that way.
Exactly. And both the root and the leaves have antioxidants to fight inflammation.
Fatty fish, again, mackerel, tuna, salmon, trout, sardines. No surprise there.
Given the omega-3s, definitely not. The source suggests eating them 2 or more times a week for heart disease risk reduction.
Nuts and seeds, too, specifically calling out walnuts.
Yes, because walnuts have ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 that's shown to help reduce heart disease risk. Pumpkin seeds get a nod for fiber and magnesium.
The advice is variety, though, right? Eat different kinds.
Always good advice. Gives you a broader range of nutrients. And beans and legumes crucial for heart health, too.
All kinds listed: red, white, black, garbanzo, lentils, peas, peanuts.
They provide protein, minerals, healthy fats, and that all-important fiber. Lowers cholesterol, prevents blood sugar spikes.
And managing blood sugar is key because high blood sugar links to diabetes and obesity, which are big heart disease risks.
Precisely. So you see how these foods work on multiple fronts for heart health.
Okay, so that covers general benefits and heart health. But then there's the kidney health angle from the National Kidney Foundation source. This felt like a really important shift in perspective.
It really is, because here, the concept of a superfood gets, well, redefined. The NKF source says it clearly. When you have kidney disease, a well-balanced diet tailored for you is your superfood.
That's powerful. It moves away from single foods and focuses on the whole dietary pattern.
Exactly. For kidney patients, it means focusing on low-sodium foods, plenty of vitamins, but being really careful about which minerals and how much.
And that's the key difference, isn't it? Minerals like potassium and phosphorus. Damaged kidneys struggle to filter them out.
Right. So their levels need careful monitoring depending on the stage of kidney disease. A food that's healthy for most people might need to be limited for someone with kidney issues.
So the NKF list of kidney-friendly foods comes with that important context. Let's look at their categories. Fruits: acai, apples, blueberries, citrus, cherries, pomegranates, strawberries, tomatoes.
And notice pomegranates are described as high in antioxidants, fiber, folate, Ke, B6, and potassium.
There it is. So even a superfruit like pomegranate might need limits depending on the individual's potassium levels.
Exactly. It underscores why personalized dietary advice is so critical in kidney disease.
Vegetables listed include avocado, which they also put under fats, beans, broccoli, herbs, leafy greens, root vegetables, squash, tomatoes, again, antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, minerals.
Nuts, seeds, and whole grains are in there too, for fiber, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. Flax and chia seeds get a special mention.
With advice to grind the flax for absorption and store them in the freezer.
Yeah, practical tips. For animal proteins, eggs appear again, mentioning that weak link between dietary and blood cholesterol. Fish is good protein without much saturated fat, plus vitamins, minerals.
And this was specific: low phosphorus cheese.
Right, called out because it's generally lower in phosphorus and sodium than other cheeses, but still gives you calcium, protein, B12A. Shellfish also gets listed.
Yogurt's on the list too, and importantly, it mentions plant-based options.
Yes, yogurt for probiotics. And it notes that alternatives from soy or coconut milk can be lower in phosphorus and potassium than cow's milk. But
Always check the labels for additives.
crucial caution, some might have added phosphorus or potassium salts, defeating the purpose for a kidney patient.
Plant-based proteins also include beans, flax chia seeds, those milk alternatives with the warning, nut seeds, and tofu.
Tofu is highlighted as a complete protein with minerals and those good omega-3 and omega-6 fats.
Under oils and fats, avocado again, and just healthy oils and fats generally.
Because they're essential. Help absorb vitamins, build cell membranes, needed for blood clotting, muscle movement, lowering inflammation, maybe lowering LDL cholesterol. See the overlap with heart health.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And finally, a simple but vital one: seasonings.
Spices and herbs. So important for kidney health because they let you add flavor without salt, which usually needs strict limiting. Plus, they add their own vitamins, minerals, antioxidants.
It's really striking how the NKF source frames it. Not a list of magic foods, but using nutrient-dense options strategically within a carefully managed diet.
Your diet is your superfood. That really sums up their approach. It's about the whole pattern, tailored precisely to what that individual needs.
Okay, so pulling all this together, how do you actually use this information? The Henry Ford source suggested looking at established dietary patterns.
Right, like the Mediterranean diet or the DASH diet. They naturally include many of these foods we've discussed. Think plant-focused, high fiber, low saturated fat, low added sugar, whole grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, olive oil, fatty fish. It aligns well.
They also mentioned simple swaps, like using beans for meat sometimes, or marinades for fish, roasting beets. Practical stuff.
And that NKF point about spices and herbs, that's useful for everyone, right? Boost flavor, cut sodium, good for heart health, good for kidney health, good for general health.
So the bottom line seems to be, the term superfood, okay, it might have started as marketing.
But it does point us towards foods that are objectively exceptionally rich in important nutrients, antioxidants, beneficial compounds. They really are nutritional powerhouses, whatever you call them.
And these foods can genuinely contribute to overall health. They can help manage risk factors for conditions like heart disease, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar.
And as the kidney source powerfully illustrates, they provide vital nutrients while helping manage specific mineral levels when, and this is key, when they're part of an appropriate, balanced, and individually tailored diet.
So the real magic isn't in finding one specific superfood. It's about understanding why these foods are beneficial.
And then making them a regular part of a varied, balanced diet that fits your own health needs and goals. Knowing the why behind the label helps you make smarter choices.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe. If superfood is just marketing shorthand for nutrient density, and the real benefit comes from the overall dietary pattern, does focusing too much on these individual star foods maybe distract us sometimes from the core message, which is simply the fundamental importance of eating a consistently varied and balanced diet? Is that the ultimate super strategy we should really be talking about?
That's definitely something to chew on.